The Halliјard mission was one of World War II's largest and most successful rescue of Allied aviators, carried out from August to December 1944 in occupied Yugoslavia. Led by the Yugoslav Army in the homeland, with support from the Office of Strategic Services, the mission aimed to rescue pilots shot down during bombing raids over Romania and the Balkans. With the help of local villagers, the Yugoslav Army in the homeland hid and protected the airmen until the evacuation. In the village of Pranjani, located in central Serbia, General Dragoljub Mihailović ordered the construction of an improvised airstrip at Galovica Field. Hundreds of villagers built the runway using ox carts and hand tools, enabling a coordinated effort between the Yugoslav Army in the homeland, the OSS, and the American 15th Air Force. Despite nearby German garrisons, over 500 airmen were evacuated without being detected or without a single loss, showcasing remarkable bravery and strategic cooperation. Though overlooked due to post-war politics, the Halliјard mission is now recognized as a testament to courage, resilience, and the enduring alliance between nations.
The Serbians sacrificed a lot to rescue my dad, and yeah, it's pretty overwhelming.
Thank you for taking care of our dad. Thank you for taking care of all of his people. Thank you for the hospitality that we know we've experienced, and we know that our dad experienced every day. And we know from reading his journal the gratitude that he had. He knew that people were giving the food off of their table to them and sharing beds that they had given up for these men.
It's a humbling experience, and it's gratifying to know that the people who are here saved my father's life. And I'm the oldest of 5 children. I was born on July 21st, 1944. My dad was shot down on July 9th, 1944. So I didn't have a dad until I was about 1 year old.
Visiting Galovica Field to me is paying respect to my father for his effort during World War II, and also recognizing the fact that I am here because of the Chetniks and the Serb people that kept my father alive. And my family feels the same way. And it's again, another emotional feeling.
The emotions are just, they're just hard to explain. To be able to be here, walk the same land, meet the same people, to grow that link, that closeness to each other. This is no longer just Serbians and Americans. This is family. This has now become part of my family.
Oh, it's incredibly moving. It is my 4th visit, and every time I am overwhelmed with the enormity of what they achieved with 512 airmen rescued, and what the Serbian people did during the time of war, occupation, and deprivation to help to save these airmen, rescue them when they were coming down in parachutes, and then hiding them, feeding them, taking care of them, sheltering them in the midst of German occupation, Nazi occupation. Enormous.
It was very special to see that my father was here on these very grounds, this beautiful farm, this beautiful landscape, and these wonderful people were so warm and caring, and I find that they are the same as we were told that they were during wartime. And so it's very special to be here. It feels almost like home to me in so many ways.
I am John Capello, president of the Halliјard Mission Foundation. We were honored to host the families of American airmen in Pranjani to commemorate the 80th anniversary of this historic rescue mission. The day before the official ceremony, we visited Galovica Poli, the site of the improvised airfield where hundreds of airmen were saved. Now a memorial dedicated to the Halyard mission, this land holds deep significance. For the descendants, it is more than just a historic site. It is sacred ground where their ancestors found rescue, hope, and the chance to return home.
I have points of, like last night when I was at the runway, I couldn't see out there, and I just closed my eyes and I tried to talk to my father. He didn't say anything, but I knew he was listening. And I thought, my God, you know, he was here alone, he didn't know anybody, just the fantastic people that are around him who protected him at the risk of their own lives.
I came with 3 daughters and their partners, and it was very moving to them. It is our second time that we came together. We came also for the 75th anniversary, and this time I turned to my youngest daughter, Julia Wilkinson, and I said to her, I don't know how many more years I can do this. Do you promise to carry on the tradition of coming with our family after I can no longer travel? And she said she would. And I was very moved by that. So it's going to be a family tradition.
What does it mean to visit this site? It means so much because it brings the story to life. I've always visualized what it might have looked like here in Serbia. Our dad always talked about how beautiful it was, and being raised on a farm in Wisconsin, we have rolling hills, but he talked about the beautiful mountains and the crops and the flowers in the people's gardens, and he brought it to life, and now we're experiencing it. Unlike anything, again, that I could have hoped for.
Ja sam od malih nogu čuo da su ovdje moji pranjanci iz Srbije moji spasavali 1944. godine američke pilote. Herojski narod Srbije je uvek bio na braniku otadžbine i uvek je pomagao, nikad nije nikome nanosio nikakvo zlo.
Moja majka, pokojna Pavlija, rođena je odavde nedavno 200 metara. Živi svedok je bila kad su se spustali avioni i piloti. Piloti su bili u njihovoj kući koji su stanovali, hranili se i održavali higijenu. Moja majci su davali sapune, u ono vreme nije bio sapun ni čokolade. Davali joj za uzvrat što donosila vodu sa potoka i prali i umivali se.
All the people here are somehow associated or community members, family members, Serbs that helped rescue the airmen. Here they are preparing the airfield. Draža Mihailović here, being guided onto the plane through the golden door to salvation. So here's another church, and there's water behind it. Italy? Yeah. It's actually, so it goes back to Italy. So this Sveti Nicholas, St. Nicholas Church near Bari, and this is Sveti Nikola, who's the saint, this church.
My father's name is Floyd Byfield, and his rank was a sergeant, and he was shot down on May 5th, 1944, near the town of Shupria, Serbia, and it was from Nebraska, and he was a farm boy.
My father, who at the time was Captain James Alonzo Walker, he flew for the Tuskegee Airmen, which was a African-American fighter group, because during the war, the Army Air Corps was still segregated. So he retired as a Lieutenant Colonel in 1964, but served in the service until that time.
My father, Lieutenant Alan Chester Carrico, and he was a bombardier aboard a B-24 coming back from Ploesti, all shot up and unable to make it over these beautiful mountains that you have here.
The one that was involved with the Halliard mission was my uncle. He was First Lieutenant Alan Carrico of the Inhuman Critter. And he was stationed in Italy, and he flew from December 1943 and was shot down on the 9th of July 1944. And he basically bailed out over Zlatibor and was picked up by the Chetniks and brought here to Pranyani and was evacuated on the 10th of August 1944.
My dad was Joseph Peter Hoffman, and he came from Waunakee, Wisconsin. He was a technical sergeant, and he was the flight engineer on one of the B-24 bombers.
Yes, Robert Leslie Cole, Lieutenant Robert Leslie Cole, was co-pilot on a B-24 that was shot down over Serbia in 1944. The day was actually on D-Day in June 6, 1944.
My mother during World War II married my father. She was from Belgrade. She was a Serbian English teacher, and my father was a visiting student from the United States. So they met and married and then left right during the war, when they had to leave, really. And my mother ended up in Washington working at the Yugoslav embassy in Washington, which was under the control of the government in exile in London. And my father was posted in Bari, Italy with the OSS, Office of Strategic Services, working on helping resistance movements in the Balkans. So he heard about a rumor that there were American pilots and airmen being helped by General Draža Mihailović and his resistance forces, but other people told him, no, it couldn't be, because we broke with them, we're supporting Tito, so it wouldn't have happened. And he insisted, but he didn't have confirmation yet. And at the same time, the government of Yugoslavia in exile received a radio message from Draža Mihailović saying, I'm holding these American and Allied airmen in the territory that I control, but I can't hold in Washington. And the ambassador showed it to my mother, knowing that my father was working with OSS in Italy, and asked if she could help. So she sent him a letter, just a regular letter by military mail, asking if he might be able to help save these American pilots and airmen. And that was his confirmation from two sources that they indeed were there. And so then he contacted some of the Air Force leadership in Italy, and they said, yes, even though the politics are complicated, if our boys are there, we need to find them and get them out. And that was the beginning of the Halliard mission.
1944. godine s ovog aerodroma ovde, nepostojećeg, je otišlo preko 500 pilota i osoblja pomoćnog uz avione. Uz avione otišlo je u Bari. Pričao mi je taj narod moj ovde kako su oni meštani spavali po štalama, a dok su američki ovi piloti spavali po kućama. Primali su sve te Amerikance i Oni su bili tu rasuti, padobranci, ti su padali, piloti po celoj Srbiji i skupili su se tu da 1944. godine krenu sa ovog aerodroma u Bari. Zavoleli su ovaj srpski narod koji je bio dobroćudan i koji im je pomagao i koji je hranio njih, odvajao od svojih usta da bi piloti ti imali šta da jedu. Ja sam ponosan što sam potomak tih Srba koji su pomagali ovim pilotima i znam da je 1992. godine došao jedan pilot, Joe Renkov, koji je došao iz Carson Citya, čini mi se, 1992. godine sa svojom suprugom Merđije i tu je pao na ovu zemlju je legao i 10 minuta nije hteo da ustaje i ljubio je moju kuću, pošto je prva tu, kako se dolazi na ovaj aerodrom, ljubio je kuću, ali tu je bila stara moja kuća, a on nije, u međuvremenu smo napravili drugu kuću, on je ljubio zidove moje kuće. Kaže, iz ove kuće sam 3 dana, 4 bio u ovoj kući i iz nje sam krenuo u drugi život.
Kad su se avioni tu spustali, moja majka je dolazila i ceo tu komšiluk koji su pravili taj aerodrom, improvizovani aerodrom, vukli su sa kolima volovskim i kaldrmu pravili da bi avioni ne bi potonuli, da bi mogli da lete i uzlete. Ona je htela da u krajnjoj liniji ide sa njima, međutim majka je nije dala pošto oca nije imala, a bila je najstarija od braća i sestara u porodici. I kaže, ko će da ostane sa mnom, majka je to govore, ko će sa mnom da ostane da nas izdržava. I posle se izvjesno vremena udala ovde moga oca pokojnog i tu je stvorila porodicu i kad su došli, prvi put kad su došli ti američki piloti ovde na Galoviće, na aerodromu, oni su se prepoznali i plakali i ti piloti koji su došli i ona s njima. I grlili se i bilo je takav srdačan doček da to je za pamćenje bilo.
Piloti, svi koji su bili ovde u ovoj kući mojoj, možda njih jedno 5-6, oni su spavali tu u kući, a moja rodbina, moj otac, baba i tetka, oni su spavali u ovoj drvenoj kući iza mene koju smo mi malo renovirali. Niko od tih pilota nije zahtevao ništa posebno, niti moja ta rodbina od njih ništa. Oni su ih primili jer srce srpskog naroda je veliko, kao prerija u Americi. I nikakve protiv usluge nisu tražili, mada su ti piloti kad su krenuli 1944. godine, jedan je se sprijateljio bio s mojim ocom, on je ga vukao avion, a pokojna moja baba, majka njegova ga vukla za drugu ruku da ne uđe avion. Sve hrane koje su imali moje domaćinstvo. Pod broj 1 je dato za ove pilote najbolja hrana, a oni su jeli šta ovi ostave ili jeli žutu proju i koje šta, a njima je se spremao posebno ručak. Nisu oni piloti ništa mnogo ni tražili, ali oni su bili isto, saživeli se sa tim ukućanima za ti 3, 4, 5 dana koliko su bili tu. Nisu ništa posebno zahtevali. Znači šta je se našlo na trpezi, to je se jelo.
And he moved on, got on the plane, and when he just about got on the plane, he wanted to give his .45 to Grandpa. And Grandpa, I found out while I was here, is the man who embroidered the unit insignia for the Chetniks on a piece of his parachute. And it said, "Death or Glory." And he said, "Freedom for the country." And it signed it, Grandpa. And Grandpa, I found out, was the commanding officer. And he was the commanding officer of the men that were with him. They were getting ready to get on the airplane because he was an officer and they were enlisted, some of them. And that's what happened. And he said, "Well, I want to give you my .45. And Grandpa said, "I can't take it from you. They'll think I forced you to give it to me, so you can't give it to me." So just before he got on the plane, he turned around and he hung it on his neck. He says, "What are you going to do about that now?" And he gave it to him. Didn't give him his boots, he gave him his .45 and his web belt.
Maybe the biggest lesson is to listen to people and to understand who they are. And we often don't know who they are and have preconceived notions. Like I said, my dad, they were afraid of the people that were coming out of the woods and the fields to rescue them. But then by listening and talking and sharing, however they could, they learned so much about each other. And that's a lesson for all of us, not just with Operation Halyard, but in the world, to listen and to talk to one another, because we have much more things that are in common than what tear us apart.
It's been quite an experience, pretty overwhelming to say the least. Especially with my father being in the unique position that he was in, as far as the rest of the Forgotten 500 are concerned. He was the only African American that was rescued by this Halyard mission. So it's to come back and see where it all happened for him, meet some of the people that actually, descendants of some of the people he actually encountered. It's been not only enlightening and educational, but emotionally, I don't even have the words to describe it, to be honest with you.
I came to the field with John Capello and Boyan Dragicevic. And it was not part of the celebration. It was just a visit to coordinate the celebration. And so they went across the road, and there was nothing there like it is today. It was just the OSS monument and some other monuments, and it was just a plain field, airstrip. And when I walked out there, I had a very strange feeling that's very difficult to describe. It was, it brought me to tears, knowing that I walked in my father's footsteps. And so it was very emotional.
This is an experience that's so totally hard to explain. The Serbian people and the relationship that we have, and for us who are descendants, I wanted to basically come here so I could thank those who are descendants of Chetniks who had saved my uncle, to be able to personally thank them for the risk and the things that they did for my uncle to help him escape and get back to Italy.
Well, I've certainly understood its importance, its uniqueness, that it was such a success, that all 500 plus pilots got out alive and safe and with no casualties, even under the nose of the Nazi occupation. And so we are certainly proud of the coordination between Mikhailovich, the villagers, and the OSS and the American mission that created Halyard, so that they would have the airfield and have use of it and be able to create the diversion thanks to the Tuskegee Airmen, and really find a way to get those men safely evacuated. And it is just short of miraculous that they were all saved so wonderfully.
When I heard that plane coming over our heads today, tears came into my eyes because it seemed very real. It seemed just like what it must have sounded like in World War II, and then the parachutes coming down. I was just amazed and very moved. Very moved.
Captain Walker gave his boots to 15-year-old Drago Jankovic. We're honored that Mr. Kenneth Walker, the son of Captain James Walker, is here today to present a slightly more mature Mr. Jankovic with a new pair of boots.
During his time here, he was actually treated better by the Serbian people than he, at that time, than he was being treated at home. And I think that says a lot, right? And there's not much more to say about that.
And I got to meet the people that knew him. I got to meet people whose grandfather actually talked to my father and helped him. My cousin was saying the people of Serbia and the Chetniks I said, well, why would they do this? The Germans would have done terrible things to their families for even trying to do this. And he said, they weren't afraid to do it. They were brave. All they wanted to do was help and get them back into action.
How does it feel to be here? It's remarkable. It's so emotional. It is something that my sister and I have talked about doing for many years. And the fact that we were able to come, both of us, only two daughters that my dad had, and I am here with my husband and 3 of my 4 children, with my grandson, who is named for my dad, Joseph, and my son, who is Joshua Joseph. You can tell that we all think so much of our dad, and we marveled at what he went through, and all he had to say about the experience was the kindness of the Serbian people. So to be here and to meet people and to be able to share our gratitude is just beyond what I could have even hoped for.
There is a plane in Mesa, Arizona that was used in the rescue of the airmen, and it still flies to this day. It's at the Commemorative Museum in Mesa. So there was a Halyard mission presentation there, and so I boarded that aircraft. And when I got on the aircraft, I had that same feeling that I had when I got on the Galovica field. So I took the flight, and then we landed, and I took pictures of the aircraft so I could get the tail number of it. So after a couple of days, I did some research on that tail number, and I found out that that was the plane that my father had been rescued on. Extremely that's another thing that it's very difficult to explain. I think it's just a gift from God.
Some of the stories my uncle would tell me was that the whole time that he was here for the 30 days, that he would kind of go from group to group, and in some cases he even went into combat with them. So the most interesting story, I think, is He was supposed to be evacuated like on the 9th of August, and because they couldn't get him on the airplane, he had to basically stay with that group. And that same night, they attacked a rail station. And he actually fought with the Chetniks side by side until he could get to Pranyani to be evacuated on the 10th. And as he was getting on the airplane, he gave one of the Chetniks his 45 weapon as he got on the plane to thank him for saving his life.
Well, I've made several visits. As I said, it's my 4th here in Pranyani, and I also have cousins in Novi Sad. So I think my perspective has changed because I've gotten to know some of the Serbian people involved and how important their involvement is and the sacrifices that their families and ancestors made, and how wonderful it is that they're still very friendly with the Americans who come, and we always feel very welcome, as if the hospitality that they gave the airmen and the pilots when they saved them is being extended to us. So I'm very grateful.
I'm going to start off with saying thank you, thank you, thank you for the life saved of my father. Thank you for what you did for all the 500 men to get back to their families and to continue on telling the world about Serbia and the people who live here and what they did and the bravery they showed.
How we plan to keep the mission alive is to talk about our experience, to share our experience with other people. We have shared the book, Forgotten 500, with all of our friends, and people are mesmerized by the story. And then we plan on sharing all of the pictures that we've taken, the experiences, and we'll continue to talk about it. I imagine my children and grandchildren will come here again. Maybe I will too, but I know that they have had the experience that they would like to share and continue to thank the Serbian people for generations to come.
What we can do when we get back to the States, and what I can do, I should say, to help get the message out. You know, as a descendant of a former Tuskegee Airman, there's organizations in the States that are still active that I can get this message to. And there's two sides to the story. This is not just about my father and being shot down, because the Tuskegee Airmen as a group, they helped escort the C-47 rescue planes that came in to evacuate the downed pilots. And that part of the story is not being told either. So it's going to be an interesting adventure going forward.
I think I recognize more about the Chetnik's role and the people that gave everything, including some of their lives, to save my father. And so to me, it's like I owe them everything I can do, and which I'm writing a book about his exploits. And it's one of the things that's so important is to thank the Serbs for that.
My main message to the Serbian people is that they are the true heroes. The pilots were certainly doing their jobs, and they did what they could on their bombing missions, but the true heroes are the ones who sacrificed to feed the pilots first, to risk their own lives in order to make sure that the pilots were safe and able to get back to their homeland. And I know that they wanted to help them get back so that they would continue the war effort and finish the occupation and help drive out that situation so that they could get back to normal life. But I am so grateful to the Serbian people, their hearts, their religion, their special faith and kindness that they gave to our pilots.
I think the best thing for future generations is to understand your history. Understand how two peoples during a time of war can come together, united, to defeat that enemy, and to be able to grow in relationship and family joining. I just think that this is a way to learn not only the history of Serbia, but also the United States and how we can become one.
Well, I think it's very important to build on the friendship and sacrifice and dedication of the Serbian people and the American military pilots and airmen during World War II, and strengthen the partnership between the United States and Serbia, based in part on that successful mission. I think it's a wonderful example, and I do hope that we can build a better relationship between the two countries. I am a former diplomat, American diplomat, Foreign Service officer, so it means a lot to me if we can improve our relationship and get back to the kind of friendship we had during the two world wars.
Caring for others, being willing to sacrifice to save people, you know, love and understanding, because the airmen and that the Serbians were rescuing, they didn't know them. They didn't, you know, some of them probably didn't understand why they were doing what they did, but they did it, and they sacrificed their homes, their food, whatever have you, and they didn't have a lot, but they still went ahead and did that. And it's incredible to find a culture that would sacrifice as much as they did. You know, they lost a lot of people, but they saved a lot of people. They probably lost more people, the Serbians probably lost more people than they saved.
I think, first of all, history must be oral and it should be written. And we have books. My dad's in those books. And I think people need to talk about Serbia. We have to talk about being more involved with the work to bring our countries closer together all the time. That's what I feel.
So feeling that and experiencing that has been amazing. So thank you to the Serbian people. And now we understand how our dad had good feelings. He didn't want to talk about this experience much, but when he did, what he said was positive about the people. So thank you.
I would like to tell them thank you from the bottom of my heart and from the bottom of the hearts of my brothers and family for what they did and how they took care of my father for 99 days. He was behind enemy lines for 99 days. They walked from Senji Rudnik, the coal mine east of Shupria, over to the Drina River at Malej Zvornik, which didn't exist at the time, and then they walked back to Pranjani. So they walked a long ways. There was definitely 13 airmen with him.
The legacy of the Halyard mission for the U.S. in Serbia, I believe, was shown today that it's going to continue. The amount of Serbian dignitaries and American dignitaries, it's apparent to me that our friendship is firm and it will be continued. And the willingness of the Serbian government to build that beautiful monument and then to involve the U.S. in sharing this wonderful rescue with the world will just continue to build on that friendship.
Thanks, Dad.